To become a grave hunter, figuring out what to do is not really all that difficult. You go to a cemetery and you look around. That's basically it. It's not rocket surgery. More important, however, is learning what not to do. And since we're holding this event inside of a Mausoleum, not a typical place for cards for festivities, at least not for normal people, I thought the appropriate topic for tonight would be the proper cemetery etiquette, which is the subject of my next book, Mr. Manner's Guide to Cemetery Etiquette. I was much younger. Trust me on this, I know what I'm talking about. I have repeatedly broken probably all the rules I'm about to tell you. They will probably continue to do so. What can I tell you? I'm an outlaw. Oh well. But not at this cemetery. Sure, breaking the rules can be fun, and you might get a great story to post later on your website or blog, but all things considered, it's not really worth the trouble. There are some simple and basic rules and standards of behavior you follow, and some simple guidelines to make sure that your visit to the cemetery is fun, educational, entertaining, and doesn't end up with you in the police stations wondering who you're going to call to get bail money. In fact, some cemeteries are becoming so strict about the rules and regulations and are so severe in the enforcement of those rules that many have opened their own on-site detention facilities. As Robert Blake often said, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. And if you think it's tough in San Quentin, just imagine serving 8 to 10 an hour forever for flower theft, or taking photos without authorization. Proper cemetery behavior starts even before you leave your home. It's very important to dress appropriately. You don't want to call attention to yourself, you want to blend in. You should try to look like a normal person paying respects to a loved one, not like Frank Buck out hunting the mysterious black rhino in Borneo, or Marlon Perkins searching for the elusive lost sarcophagus of Betty Davis. I've even heard a wild story about an anonymous grave hunter who was approached by a security guard at the cemetery. He attempted to explain to the guard that he was just a history buff, a hobbyist, who enjoyed visiting cemeteries. And while he was trying to make that argument to the guard, he was wearing a t-shirt that he sells on his grave hunting website, which featured a photo of grave markers from that very cemetery. Second is make sure that your car is in place. You don't want to start calling attention to yourself even before you drive on the plane. So think about your vanity plates, your bumper stickers, the message on your license plate. Once again, you're trying to look like a grieving family member, not a freaky, weird, grave hunting hobbyist.
Yeah.
Next, make sure you bring the proper supplies. And no, not handling this stuff. Maybe a small discreet camera, perhaps a helpful guidebook or a book, and I can have some suggestions in that area. Maybe some cheap plastic flowers from the 99-cent store. Leave the rest at home. No shovels, no crowbars, pickaxes, bolt cutters, ladders, nothing that would be considered heavy equipment and or burglary tools. If you really need something like a ladder, or perhaps a heavy-duty electric scissor, you might be able to find something suitable on the property. Just look around. You don't have to bring your own. Next, know the rules. Some cemeteries, for example, work with photography in certain areas or inside mausoleums. I'm not necessarily saying you always need to follow those rules, but you should at least know what they are ahead of time so you can think of a good excuse. In some cemeteries, it's extremely important to your personal health to know and follow the rules. For example, as an example of not knowing the rules, many years ago, one of my first visits to the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale, I didn't know the rules about the Great Mausoleum. I just knew that I wanted to go inside. So I strolled up to this door, the entrance to the Gardenia Terrace, and pushed the button. When they asked me what I wanted, I politely and honestly told them I just wanted to go inside and look around. And they politely and firmly told me that no, I would not be allowed to do that. And I've probably been on a watch list ever since. The next rule is avoid large groups. Go solo or one or two other people. Nothing says we're really not supposed to be here, but please kick us out. Like a big group of giddy lunatics running around the cemetery, frolicking, laughing, carousing, and posing for pictures on the graveyard. I'm not saying you shouldn't do all that stuff. Just try to do it in smaller groups and be careful. Now, calm down, everyone. This is just a photograph. Now, if you're an experienced grave hunter, you probably automatically and instinctively panic when you saw this picture. And this rule might surprise you, but obey the security guards, at least while they're watching. And know they'll probably always be watching. Be polite, listen to them, and do whatever they tell you, even if they're idiots. Remember that you're on private property and their word is law. Consider this from their perspective. On the grand hierarchy of global security personnel, at the top of the list is the military, protecting the whole country. Then the police officers, sheriff's departments, and the National Guard, protecting the people in those countries. Then the neighborhood watch volunteers, protecting people in their homes. Then private security guards, protecting buildings, property, and special events. And then there are the cemetery security guards. protecting dead people. Most of whom are buried deep underground or behind layers of concrete and marble. What's the worst thing that could happen? There's not a huge amount of risk or danger if something goes wrong. And just imagine how much they probably get teased by the other security guards. So if they ever get a chance to use their authority to kick you out, they probably are going to do it. You'll make their day and they'll probably write about it on their blog or website. So don't give them the opportunity. The next rule is no souvenirs. No matter how cool you think they might look on your coffee table or your garden, not only is there the serious issue of theft, but there's also the issue of karma and stealing from a dead person. Plus, remember the grave hunters will come after you. Be considerate, think of them, give them the chance to steal it. And that also goes to the tiny round souvenirs that you might see laying around on someone's grave that would be so easy to pick up and just slip into your pocket and pay for dinner with later. Above all, be considerate and respectful of actual family members and mourners. It's usually considered in poor taste to ask a grieving family member to move so you can get a picture of the grave. They're sobbing in front of them. And actually, this is my actual father at the actual grave of Al Capone and Jafar. So I'm thinking that didn't fall too far from the tree. Next, try to have at least a vague idea of what you're looking for. Many of us have been out in the cemetery with a group, and someone will invariably shout, "Come here, quick, I found someone!" And it turns out the person they found isn't really the person they think they found. In some cases, the person they think they found is buried in their cemetery, in their state, in their country, or usually they're not even dead.